According to some surveys, turnover at tech companies, or how long people stay there before they leave for a different job, is just 2 years on average. And there's actually a gap that gets created in skills of programmers because of this. Today we're going to talk about some misconceptions about how skills are spread across a software company right after this. Hi, I'm Jamie, and at Healthy Software Developer, I want to help you have a long career where you don't get burned out, you don't get pushed around by people that don't really understand software development, and you can just have a healthy career. In the many years that I've developed software, it's been really frustrating when I come across really talented programmers or professionals in any aspect of software development, and they leave within 2 years on average. This is a statistic you've probably seen all over the place, and it's actually been true in the many companies that I've had the opportunity to work for as an employee and as a consultant. And one thing many tech companies have heard, but I don't think they appreciate, is the fact that every time you hire someone new onto your project, even if, let's say, the job request that's out there on LinkedIn or Monster.com or through a recruiter or however it's circulated says, here's 10 or 15 different software development technologies we'd like the new hire to know and maybe some experience in our industry, every software product that you'll ever work on is a little bit different and sometimes a lot different. And so this conception that you can bring somebody onto a project and within 2 weeks they're productive is just false. Even if you bring someone in and they're able to write code quickly and gel with the team, they've got a lot of learning usually to do about how does that specific business work and how have they decided to use technology there to actually build their product. If we look at this chart, you can see that when someone new is hired into a software company to work on a project, even if they're really experienced, it takes time until they really hit their stride and are most productive on that project. It could even take up to 2 years for them to really know the business and everybody at the company well enough that they're really at their most productive. And that's unfortunately right around the same time that many employees leave. If we were to look at how many people work on a software project and what their skill level is, what many managers and leaders of companies like to think is that it follows a standard deviation, which is what this chart represents. And this just shows that in the middle are the most people, meaning if we had a software project, let's say with 10 people, the majority of the people on that project might be at maybe a medium sort of level of skill. And that's what you see at the top of this bell curve. But there's some outliers. On the right side, there might be a few top performers. And on the left side, there's going to be a few people that unfortunately perform maybe not as well as everybody else. But because of the turnover in most tech companies, the reality is that the true distribution of skill is closer to this chart. Because there's so many people coming into the company to replace people that have just gotten to the point that they're most skilled, most employees are at a lower level of skill because they're still ramping up on the company culture and the business and the solution. And so one of the best things that I think software development companies can do to really get a lot of productivity and get the most creativity out of their people is to create an environment where people like working there. And if that means that you have to allow software developers to be more autonomous and do things on their own with less hand-holding, and that means there may have to be less predictability because there's less estimating that's done because estimating is just too hard for the large quantity of work that your project might involve. And you can go back and watch my video on Agile budgeting where I talk about why that's just a plague in our industry. Anything software companies can do to keep people there longer and give them ownership over software projects and allow them to use new technology when they want to, and have them do less estimating and less of the grunt work they don't want to do to try to predict things and be more lean, that's going to increase the chance that all that money that a company's spent bringing a new employee on and getting them up to speed and getting them to the point that they can really be most productive isn't constantly wasted every couple of years. So if you unfortunately worked for a software company that's had high turnover, or at least most employees leave within 2 years or less, leave me some comments below. If you're new to my YouTube channel, please subscribe. You can hit the little bell icon and it'll actually notify you every time I publish new videos. And you can also listen to this as a podcast on Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, or SoundCloud. So until next time, thanks.